This is my last day of work for a while because I'm going to Roland Garros tomorrow, French Wimbledon. So I'm happy about that. And then I'm going to England for ages, like 10 days. So that's all very fun. So I've been following the tennis and whatnot whilst at work and getting less work done, of course. Just like exams, man. But this time of year for the past 3 years were exams, man. And I'm not making any better of it. Because, oh, I say because, I don't feel myself physically in terms of the knee, man. And the physio guy mentioned on Monday, like just a couple of days ago, um, have you got it scanned? You know, because usually it should be healed by now. So that's nice and worrying. And I'm leaving like now in terms of the country. Yeah, so basically it's going to be a few weeks before I can even get it scanned, which sucks. Unless I go to England. No, no, no. Fuck all that. I'm not doing that. I'm just going to drink and smoke and chill in England. Listen to a podcast, man. The Joe Rogan, recommended by Zaid. I've already forgotten the name of the guy who he interviewed, but a neuroendocrinologist, something. I'll link and do the research and actually correct myself. Like, oh, I don't know how long it wasn't recording for. God damn it! Retaining knowledge from podcasts is at least what I was talking about. Fuck knows when it dropped the frames. Um, and you see like old people and just all these people, these well-read people, but they, particularly Jason Silver, I don't know how he does it. He's always calling out these shots of like this guy, this book, who said this. That's like Jason Silver's like the best at it, but I want to get closer to that retention and memorizing. And like I do it for exams, but I'd never do it long term. So I should probably start. Maybe it's things like books. You spend so much time holding a book, and like the amount of times you maybe go and come back to it will help you remember who wrote it. And yeah, I think that's true. Things like the directors of movies, maybe I should start paying attention to. Picked some strawberries yesterday from my granddad's garden. That's kind of cool. It is cool because growing your own food, man, something I definitely want to do. Being accountable for something like that and getting rewards. You get a reward from it, like literally you get food. But it takes so much work. Like they have a lot to say. They have a lot of bad things to say about supermarkets. My grandparents, and it's kind of true. Like they're selling things out of season and like affecting it with chemicals and whatnot. And somebody said something about on the weekend about apparently there's more babies being born allergic to peanuts. I had to work it out from French. I had the word there, but it wasn't in English. Basically, apparently, it was like at the family thing, and one dad comes up to another dad and just checking, like, oh, your baby's not allergic to peanuts, is he? Or she, or whatever. And the guy's like, no, I don't think so. Should be fine. And I was like, oh fuck, like we're checking everyone for peanuts now. Like, I could just tell that was odd. Like, it was extra. And apparently, yeah, man. Apparently, lots of newborns, or not necessarily new, like lots of young kids. It's more free. The rate of being allergic to peanuts is more frequent than it used to be. And why? Why would that be? And it's got to be because of what we're eating. Oh fuck, that podcast this morning, man. When the guy mentioned like if like the mother's stress levels whilst you're in the womb can affect your prefrontal cortex, man, and that can affect your like responsible decision making, basically, and just fuck, fuck, and then that's the stress levels are kind of a factor of your socioeconomic status because you're probably more stressed if you're poorer, or the lower end of the socioeconomic status. Man, I'm gonna be a fucking nervous father, man. like just trying to keep the wifey chill at all times. Oh man, the, that I didn't know it was that effective. Like I was just shirking. We were talking about cheese and pregnant women eating cheese, and the type of milk the cheese is made from. I don't really know the equivalents, but I think it's pasteurized and unpasteurized. And the unpasteurized one would have more bacteria in it because it hasn't been heated before. Like, I guess they boil one and not the other. So I was right about pasteurization. It's cooked milk, man. Made by Louis Pasteur. What? Represent. Something to do with pasteurized and non-pasteurized milk making the cheese. And the non-pasteurized milk, the less treated one, basically has a better flavor, pretty much as a rule. But pregnant women are avoiding it because those bacteria aren't necessarily good for the kid. Pretty much worries me whenever we say anything good for pregnant women. It's pretty like when you see like Monster, like the energy drinks, any energy drinks, and they're like, pregnant women should not be drinking this. And I just think, oh, it can't be that good for us non-pregnant people either then. Probably. Also on a podcast was Tim Ferriss talking to a lady, and they mentioned about like mentors and like looking for mentors and how should you approach them. They'll mentor you. And like a lot of what supported them was humility and understanding their position and stuff. But the point was about helping yourself first, man. Make progress and then ask for help. Don't just stand there waiting about it, having not done anything. But I'm guilty of that. Like, well, I'm waiting. I'm not really asking for direct help, but like, I need to help myself, man. And again, Jordan Peterson. I need to rewatch that video actually. It's like a 5-minute video on what to do if you don't have any goals. Like the guy asking the question was exactly my position. Like, I kind of got stuck in your future authoring thing because I don't really have any goals. Like, what would you advise? And Jordan Peterson was saying like, just what was his answer? Pretty much, sort yourself out. He mentioned again like tidying your room and that would spread out. So more or less, just have a positive influence on yourself, and you can sort of see. You'll end up seeing how you can affect things positively, and that'll give you ideas about your vision. He definitely went on like a major tangent and only wrapped up that would be how you'd find your goal, or how you'd find a vision, or really to the future in like the last 10, 20, 30 seconds of the 5-minute clip. But I'm definitely going to rewatch it, man. I can totally see why Farhad rewatches a bunch of stuff. It's just worth revisiting, man. Like the first time you watched it, you were like, oh, okay. And then maybe you've seen it or had that ability to compare it with your experiences. And then you come back and watch it again and get so much more from it. You'd be like, oh yeah, just like that time and that time. And then you bear more. It's time to go.
J'espère que vous passez un agréable vol avec vous, malgré le temps très court de vol. Cette semaine, il y aura 4. We are descending now to London Newton. We expect landing at 7:10, so we will be on time.
Check it out. Check out the English players, man. Cool original Doritos, man. That shit is not in France. Square bread sandwiches. That shit is not as good in France, but it's there. It's mine brew. Classic meal deal. All is good. Couldn't get a pint because it's too early. And I'm too cheap to buy food next to it, along with it. So I'll wait. Totally stressed on the coach because I was looking at the wrong time because my laptop is not on the internet and it's an hour ahead. So I was like, but in the end, it's all good. I can still have my Sainsbury's and Sig, the essentials, you know. My bag smells of cheese. Still kind of mad that I stressed so unnecessarily. Like the clock on the coach said the right time, but I was only ever looking at the second half of the time, like 9:20, and I was like, oh shit, 20, what the fuck, it's in 10 minutes. I mean, it was an early morning, let's be fair. But edited on the bus. Forgot to actually film it, but there's another bus to be filming, so it's cool. But here I'm editing in the pub. Oh, in the pub. I'm sitting in a pub. Britain. Just got told off for eating Sainsbury's, but I'm halfway through now. What am I supposed to do? Literally don't even have the space in my bag for it.